VMX Show Season 4.
Isn't that nice? Wow. Welcome to the VMX Show. This is Season 4, Episode... What is it? Episode 9, I think? Yeah, this is Episode 9. Getting near the end of the season here. Don't have a guest, so this might be another short episode. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see, so then 10, 11, 12, 3 more episodes. If you want to be on them, let me know. That was... from Super Metroid. It wasn't from the game. That was a cover version by YouTube user Bruno280678. Bruno280678. Check his channel out. He does a lot of classical guitar numbers, original themes, video game music, all sorts of things. I see he's done Shadow of the Colossus. He's done Zelda. And of course he's done other stuff. Italian dude. Big friend of mine, Joey, he's a huge fan of Super Metroid. It's probably his favorite game of all time, and he showed me this guy's channel and him playing the Meridia theme from Super Metroid on guitar, and I immediately contacted this guy. I was like, can I play your stuff on my podcast, because it's amazing. I actually meant to play it 2 weeks ago, and I forgot, and then I forgot again. So I put a little star next to it in my my email this week so that I wouldn't forget, because it had to be heard by a wider audience. His channel, I mean, you got to check it out. The video only has like 900 views. Deserves way more. Beautiful rendition of the Meridia theme from Super Metroid on a classical guitar. So let's get to your questions and comments now. So let's see what we got. E11 Network says, hey Nurko, have you ever liked a spin-off title better than the non-spin-off title? Well, that's an interesting question. Let's see. If I ever liked a spin-off of a series... Well, yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics is a spin-off of the Final Fantasy series, but it's also easily my favorite Final Fantasy game. So there you go. Tactics is definitely qualifies as that. Any others? Let me think. Tactics is the big one, but is there any others? Well, I like some of the Mario Kart games better than the regular Mario games, but that used to be true until Galaxy came out, and then that was like the best Mario game ever, so. But at the time when Mario Kart DS came out, or Mario Kart 64, those were like amazing to me. Let's see. Circulation 211 says, I'm sure you've answered this before, but I'm just curious. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. If you're sure I've answered it before, why ask? Seriously. But alright, I'll read it. Let's see. What is your favorite of all the home versions of Mortal Kombat games that were also in arcades? 1 through 4, also including Trilogy. And what console? The reason I emphasize the console, which it's on, is because a lot of the different ports of the same game are obviously so different from each other. Yeah, tell me about it. Some being far superior to others, or just different on how they look and play. My personal favorite was Trilogy on the PlayStation, as it had the most content. I've actually never played Trilogy. I'll be playing it fairly soon for my Mortal Kombat feature, the Mortal Kombat Anthology feature, but I've never played it up until now. From what I understand, Trilogy is basically Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 with a lot of new content added. It was on PlayStation, it was on N64. I don't know, that's tough. I would say Mortal Kombat 4 on the N64. You know, the PlayStation version had one extra character, and the Dreamcast... not an extra character, an extra level, and the Dreamcast version had a couple of extra characters. I haven't played it on PlayStation or Dreamcast. I've only played it on an N64, but I enjoyed the shit out of that, so I'm going to say that one. Let's see, moving on. CoolVids19 says, so far throughout all 4 seasons, the only music I recognized was the Dissidia one. Dude, that's sad. I've played music from, like, Super Mario, I've played music from Zelda, I've played music from Sonic, and you didn't recognize any of that. Very first song I ever played on the show was Ice Cap Zone theme from Sonic 3. You didn't recognize that? I mean, come on, man. I don't mean to make fun of you, but that Dissidia, and that's not even the only Final Fantasy. I've played other Final Fantasy songs. I've played other songs from Dissidia. And that's the only song you've recognized? Come on, man. I've played Castlevania music. You didn't recognize that? Wow. Alright, Circulation 211 comes back with another question. Oh, he's referring to Freddy Krueger becoming the latest downloadable content character for Mortal Kombat 9. He says, Freddy Krueger, I thought the last character would be Tanya or Li Mei, but Tanya was a pretty important character to Mortal Kombat 4, yet only appeared in 2 other games. I'm thinking NetherRealm wants to take the next game in the series back to its Mortal Kombat 4 roots. Here's another question for you. What's the best example of a time when a game you've played... Okay, let me try to read this because the grammar is all over the place. What's the best example of a time when the game that you played where there were other games in the series that enthralled you so much that you just had to go back and play all the ones before it? Alright, dude, you gotta learn a little bit of punctuation. I think what he's saying is if I ever played like a game and then I had to get into the whole series because of that. I try not to do that because I try not to just jump into a series in the middle. Because I don't like doing that. I like starting from the beginning. Trying to think. Really, there's no example because I really don't do that. I always start at the beginning. So, really, no. I can't think of anything there. CoolVids19. Phoenix Wright fighting equals special move objection. Lol. Okay, moving on. Joe Z. Gregg says... What do you think about the Flashpoint tie-ins like Batman Night of Vengeance? By the way, I've just read the new Green Lantern issue, and I gotta say the Guardians are a bunch of fucking assholes. Well, they've always been like that. Thank you for introducing me to Green Lantern. Before your comic book reviews, I always thought he was lame. No, he's awesome. Yeah, the Guardians have always been just huge dicks, because they pride themselves on being emotionless. They have no well, they have emotion, they just repress it. Think of them kind of like the Vulcans from Star Trek, where they have these emotions, but they're just so repressed that they don't allow themselves to express it. Imagine if the Vulcans thought that they were gods. That's how you'd get the Guardians. I think that ever since Jeff Johns came under the Green Lantern book, he's been slowly writing the Guardians out of the series, especially considering once everything starts from scratch in September, one of the 4 new series is called Green Lantern: The New Guardians. So, I think they're going to be out of the series. I think that their reaction to what happened, they're just scared. I mean, if you've been reading, that was actually the last issue of Green Lantern before the reboot. And there's actually a two-issue miniseries that bridges the gap between the old series and what's going to be the new series, which will be obviously starring Sinestro. It's called War of the Green Lantern's Aftermath, and in that they show that it is true that the Guardians are just scared shitless because of what Hal did. He basically killed Krona with one huge blast. Now, while Krona was a bad guy, and he certainly deserved what he got, the fact is that there's two reasons that they're upset about it. One is that even though he was a bad guy, he was still and he was still a Guardian, and there's so few of them left that they just see it as being a huge loss to their species. There's hardly any of them left. And considering that they've abandoned love, and that the only two of them that have felt love are Ganthet and Sade, that there's not going to be any little baby Guardians anytime soon. And add to that the fact that they're just scared because the rings were not supposed to have enough power to kill a Guardian. That should not have been possible. So they're just showing that Hal Jordan's willpower was just so much that he was able to overcome all their safeguards and everything and kill a Guardian with one huge blast like he did. Which, by the way, that scene is actually my desktop right now. But, they're just scared. They're thinking any Green Lantern could just come in and wipe them all out. And they're freaking out about it. So that's what's going on there. As for the Flashpoint tie-ins, I am enjoying Batman Night of Vengeance. I'm not reading them all because there's just way too many to get. I'm reading the Hal Jordan one. I'm reading the Abin Sur one. I'm reading the Kid Flash one. I mean, so far I've liked them all. So I have been enjoying them. Let's see, let's move on. Cobra DVS says, great show once again. Have you heard they're making another Doom movie? I have not heard that. That's interesting. I believe it is more or less ignores the first movie and is more of a standalone film. Did you like the first one, and what are some things you would like to see in the new one? Alright, I'm going to go against the grain here. I did like the first Doom movie. I liked it for what it is. It really that much wasn't really based on Doom. It had some elements of it, but as just a standalone action movie, I did enjoy it. It was fun. As for what I'd like to see, I would like to see demons and hell and then that kind of stuff, because that's what Doom is about. So I would like to see that kind of stuff in the new one, if they are making a new one. I haven't heard this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look this up, because I haven't heard this at all, and it's something that I think I would have heard. So, let's see. First, I'm going to look up Doom. There it is. Doom with Carl Urban. Alright. And then we're going to see if it's getting remade or sequelized or rebooted or what's going on with it. So, let's see. I guess I would go to Connections. Oh, fucking thing jumping around on me, asshole. Here we go. Let's see. Spinner. Well, then there's no mention of a new Doom movie here. So, I don't know what you've been hearing. But, citation needed on that. If it's true, I'm definitely interested. If it's not, then oh well. We'll just move on. Let's see. And speaking of moving on, let's move on to the next question. Jimmers, thank you for answering my question. Well, you're welcome. Pack is back 04 says, nice show once again. My question is, what characters would you like to see added in the next Super Smash Bros. Game for the Wii U and 3DS? I personally think they should add Bomberman, Waluigi, Bowser Jr., Isaac, Daisy, Kamek, and a few others. Well, I don't know where you're getting Bomberman for. That's not a Nintendo character. And while they have had characters like Sonic and Snake in it, well, Snake was in it because Hideo Kojima begged Nintendo to put Snake in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and it was too late, but they promised he'd be in the next game. And Sonic was by very, very popular fan demand. I don't see, the demand being too huge for Bomberman. I think he'd be great. I mean, I think he fits in, as long as it's not like the Bomberman for 360, like old school Bomberman, Waluigi, I agree with. Bowser Jr., I agree with. Isaac? Who the hell is Isaac? I feel like I should... Oh, from Golden Sun? No, fuck him. I hate that game. Daisy, yeah, I could see Daisy being in there. Kamek would be interesting because you don't see him too often. And a few others. I do agree with most of those. Fuck Isaac, though. That guy's an asshole. Let's see. First of all, bring back Roy and Mewtwo from Melee. Bring those guys back. But as for new characters, well, let's see. That's tough, man. I wouldn't mind seeing, like Little Mac from Punch-Out and Mike from the Star Tropics games. I wouldn't mind them reviving the Star Tropics series either, while I'm on that subject. But, yeah, Little Mac from Punch-Out seems like a natural. I mean, he's a boxer. It's a fighting game. Hello, why not? He had a cameo as a assist trophy in Brawl, so hopefully that... And so did Waluigi. So hopefully that was his way of sort of having a stepping stone towards becoming a playable character in the game, I'd also like to see some different Zelda characters. I mean, so far we've seen Zelda, Sheik, Link, and Ganondorf. But I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing something crazy like Midna or like Vati or something. I think that would be cool. Just branch out a little bit more on the Zelda characters. And what else? Let's see. I'm trying to think here because this is a good question. I always like to talk about stuff like this. Super Smash Brothers is, of course, a huge favorite series of mine. That is from Melee onwards. I didn't really care for the first one that much. I guess that's enough. I mean, they'll probably come up with some crazy shit, and I'll probably enjoy it. Gabe Lang G says... Actually, hold on. Have I even talked about this yet? Oh, yeah, I have. He's talking about the cancellation of Mega Man Legends 3. He says, mixed feelings about the Mega Man Legends 3 cancellation. I'm pissed because Mega Man Legends is one of my favorite series, but at the same time, I believe fans are not always the best game designers, so it might have just been for the better. That's how I feel. I feel they should have just made the game and not try to do some weird experimental thing where the fans are involved, and then if not enough people participate, they're going to just cancel it, which is bullshit. That's not the real reason. They just didn't want to release it. I mean, Inafune left. They canceled Mega Man Universe. They canceled Mega Man Legends 3. They're just saying that, well, without this guy, we don't want to do the series. Maybe we'll get a Mega Man 11, and, that'll probably be it, Sammy Boy 798 says, hey, Necro, another question for you. Gee, I'm so flattered. Have you ever made your own game with software like Game Maker or RPG Maker? Also, which do you think is the most underrated indie game? Great show, as always. Other than my involvement in Chronicles of a Dark Lord, I have messed around with RPG Maker in the past. I never finished anything. It's incredibly hard to make a game on your own, which is why when one person makes a game on their own, it almost always sucks. I had a pretty good one going, but then I had to switch computers and everything. So I have messed around with that stuff, but it's incredibly time-consuming. And as for most underrated indie game, it's hard because, Chronicles of a Dark Lord. There you go. Moving on. Ice Skater 71 says, hey, Nick, I got a question for you. Since you're part of an indie development team, can you tell us what that's like for you? It's surreal, dude. I never thought that would happen. And can you please give us at least a hint of what the next Chronicles of a Dark Lord game is going to be like? Thanks. Well, actually, if you want a hint, just listen to the episode of the show where I had Tanya on as a guest. She talked about it. I could tell you a little bit about it. I could tell you that the graphics are going to be very improved. It looks a little similar to like Dragon Quest VI did. So if you've ever played that, then it looks kind of like that. The graphics, are really great. And not just the ones I'm creating. Like, all the graphics are nice in this. It has a system where you will actually have more than one party, which kind of harkens back to Final Fantasy VI, where you would switch between parties. And it also has a new thing called Duo Force, which is kind of like the dual techs in Chrono Trigger, or like the band system in Final Fantasy IV, the After Years, with two characters attacking an enemy simultaneously. But it's like really... It's not an afterthought. It's like something that's really necessary to play through the game. What else can I tell you? I can also tell you that the music is awesome, and that if you want to hear any of it, go to the Kazarth Studios YouTube page. There's 3 songs up that you could listen to. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll play one of the songs after I get done with questions and comments, so you can hear a little bit of it. Okay, let's move. Alright, I love questions like these, like the would you rather things. These are funny to me. Razarast92 says, Necro, would you rather be forced to listen to Rebecca Black's Friday for 9 hours, or have a 9-hour-long Uwe Ball movie marathon? Either way, you'll be suicidal afterwards. Also, have you heard Steven Tyler's new single, It Feels So Good? I haven't heard Steven Tyler's new single. I heard it was terrible, though. Okay. Uwe Boll wins by a landslide. I would rather watch his movies for 9. I'd like to sit there and watch all of his movies because I would have fun making fun of them, picking them apart, basically doing my whole commentary riff, and I think they would lead to a lot of great jokes. As for Rebecca Black, I can't even get through that song once without turning it off, much less listening to it for 9 hours, so that's an easy one for me. Moving on, Adelanoth says, Hey Necro, great show as always. My question is, what is the most annoying bug, coolest or weirdest glitch, and best Easter egg that you've seen in a video game? Alright. I'm just gonna answer one of these, because this is like all over the map. Most annoying bug. The original version, the original Call of Duty had some really weird fucking bugs in it, and I've actually been playing it, and one bug that I've been experiencing a lot is, at the end of the Pegasus Bridge mission, where you're defending the Pegasus Bridge for like a certain amount of time until the Allied forces show up. It's the beginning of the British campaign, and they show up, and then like you have to hunt down all the rest of the Germans and kill them, but they keep spawning and they're not supposed to, so I haven't gotten past that level yet. Let's see. Dave Cornfan says, Hey Necro, you said you're not a fan of QuickTime events, neither am I. I want to qualify that, actually. I said that I'm not a fan of using them excessively. I don't mind a QuickTime event here and there. Okay, going back to the question. I was wondering, have you ever played a game where you had to beat a boss multiple times simply because there was some stupid QuickTime event at the end of the battle? I hate that, and I think it's a game breaker to have to fight a boss all over again simply because you didn't press X at a specific moment. Fuck that. Alright, I haven't experienced exactly that situation, but I will tell you at one game that I experienced almost a similar situation was... Well, I did have to wind up fighting the boss again, because I was playing Dante's Inferno on Xbox 360, which is a pretty good game, and it does have its share of QuickTime events, but it's not too excessive. The Cleopatra boss, that was a bitch, because you get through her, and then there's this QuickTime event where she tries to seduce you and you have to resist it. Otherwise you die. But the thing is, if you do die, it just reloads the QuickTime event. It doesn't make you fight the boss over again. The problem is one of the symbols popped up involving the left stick, and I didn't understand what it was asking me to do, so I tried rotating the stick, I tried clicking the stick, you know how you click it into the controller? I tried wiggling it around, and I didn't know what it meant. I've never seen a symbol like that in my life, and I kept getting killed, so I had to turn off the Xbox and go on like GameFAQs and read about it. And it turned out that you had to rotate it in a very specific way, like you're doing like a Hadouken or something. And I was like, well, how the hell would you know that? And that was, like, why couldn't I just click it or something, or shake it or something? Why didn't it have to be something weird that you'd never guess just from the symbol? So I did have to fight her again because I turned off the Xbox because I was pissed off, and then I went back to it. But it wasn't that difficult of a boss battle, but it was a pain in the ass to have to do it again. The Jefferson says, dude, you're hilarious. Thank you. New York Mets fan 1996 says, how is your GameCube... it's not spelled like that, dude. How's the GameCube collection been going? I haven't been collecting recently. I will get back to it, but for now it's like kind of on the back burner. Il Doratus says, what is the most underrated metal band that I listen to? Okay, this is going to be a surprise. Because I'm going to say Winger. They were a hair metal band back in the 80s, and they were really popular. You probably heard songs like 17 that they did and Headed for a Heartbreak. And then they kind of went a little more progressive and edgy on their third album, which was called Pull, and it was unfortunate because people weren't really ready for that sound, and also it was the 90s by that point, and they had sort of gotten out of style, so they broke up and they didn't come back until 2006 And they released Winger 4, and then they released another album called Karma. They're really, really good. But they had some public feuds with Metallica and Mike Judge, and, Mike Judge put, the nerdy kid from Beavis and Butthead, Stewart, was wearing the Winger shirt all the time, like, to show how lame he is. Like, Beavis is wearing a Metallica shirt, and Butthead's wearing an AC/DC shirt, and Stewart's wearing a Winger shirt. The thing is, Winger are, like, amazing musicians. And I've actually talked with Kip via email. He's a great guy. I love all his solo albums, too, which I think they're actually better. But definitely underrated, because a lot of people, they think Winger, they think, silly hair metal, butt rock, some people call it. But if you listen to it, it's very complicated stuff. And especially the newer stuff, like Pull, 4, and Karma, are really great albums. So it's a good question. Alright, so that's it for questions and comments. Here, I'll play a little Chronicles of a Dark Lord, Episode 2, War of the Abyss. So there's your hint as to what Chronicles of a Dark Lord Episode 2 War of the Abyss will be like. It will be epic as fuck. Damn. That is the song, well, it's got two names. Right now, we're calling it Genesis of Destruction. It was originally called something else. The band is called Zero Logic that performed that. They lent some of their music to the soundtrack, as well as Kevin MacLeod, who did all the music in the first game, is on there. Another band called Sketchy Logic is on there. So it's going to be a really great game, really great soundtrack. So hopefully by the end of the year. Okay, so let's talk about the news. Coming at you. Giggity. So here's a little bit of news about The Legend of Zelda Skyward of Sword. Listen to me. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword will not have the character. Ganon's not in it. No Ganon, no Ganondorf. He will not be in the game. Now, if you're familiar somewhat with the timeline, they're saying that this is the first game in the timeline. They've done this before. Originally, Zelda Ocarina of Time was the beginning, and that was like sort of the origin of Ganon. And before that, after that, they said that the beginning was Minish Cap, and that was before Ganon. That was Vati was the main villain. So now they said they're going back even further. So there you go. So no Ganon, no Ganon, no Ganondorf, Dragmire, no Mandrag, Ganon, none of that. He's not in the game. The main villain is this guy Girahim. So he's a creepy-looking son of a bitch. He's the main villain, and yeah, just wanted to let you know what was going on with Zelda. Castlevania. This is a subject I love. There will be something coming from Konami to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Castlevania. We don't know what it is or anything about it, but we do know that they are working on something. A representative from Konami said we are going to do something. We're just going through the final approvals on exactly what that is going to be. So that's going to be pretty cool, hopefully. Some news from Resident Evil land. Resident Evil 6 is going to be announced very soon. Supposedly it will be announced on September 15th. There is an image of a logo floating out there, Resident Evil 6, and there's a date below it that says September 15th, 2011. Obviously, it's not a release date, but we think that there'll be some sort of formal announcement on September 15th. That's also the opening day of the Tokyo Game Show, which would be a good opportunity for Capcom to show off Resident Evil. Back to Zelda for a second. If you guys enjoyed The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS, well, Nintendo might be doing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. Series producer Eiji, I can never say this guy's name right, Aonuma, says there's no reason it couldn't happen if the fan support was there. He says one of the big things that made this remake possible was there was an outpour of emotions from people who said they would like to see this game done. He also says if the fan response is good enough, it wouldn't be an utter impossibility. It's vague, who sees what's going on. He says a handheld Majora's Mask where you could kind of just set things down on your own time, close it, set it aside, and come back to it later might be a gameplay element some fans will actually take to. So we'll see what's happening there. Majora's Mask, it was well reviewed, it was popular, not as well as Ocarina of Time though, but we'll see what happens. I think that there's a market for it. So that's a big deal. And back to Resident Evil. It's like I'm alternating between Resident Evil stuff and Zelda stuff. So there was the Resident Evil 6 announcement, which is possibly we'll hear more about in September. But here's some news on the reduxes of Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Code Veronica in HD. They are coming to North America. They're complementing the North American digital release of Resident Evil 4 and Code Veronica with physical retail versions, which will be about $20 each. And apparently, Resident Evil 4 will come out on September 20th, and Code Veronica will come out on the 27th of September. They will feature upgraded HD graphics as well as achievements and trophies, depending on which console you're on. So that's cool. Let's move on here. Now here's the big news of the week. The 3DS will be dropping in price drastically. A $250 handheld will be dropping to $170 on August 12th. Although the console has certainly sold well, it has been well below Nintendo's expectations, and they're hoping this will spurn sales. They will be losing money. The president of Nintendo has taken a 50% pay cut because he personally blames himself for the 3DS underperforming. I know this pisses a lot of people off who bought the 3DS early on. I have a friend, Joey, who just bought a 3DS just like 2 weeks ago. He bought the damn thing. And now I told him, did you hear about the 3DS price cut? And he's like, what? And how much? And I said $170, and he went ape. But for early adopters, you will be getting 20 free games off of the 3DS eShop. Basically, here, let me bring up the... I know I have that news story somewhere. No, that's not it. Where the hell is it? I know I have that somewhere. Let me look that up real quick. Okay, here we are. Now, this is how it works. You have to log into the 3DS eShop somewhere before August 11th, which is the day before the price drop. So if you've logged on to the eShop at all, you're already qualified. If not, please log on to it. You're going to be getting 20 games for free. Now, basically, when these games come out, you'll be able to download them without spending any money. They're not all going to come out at once, and they've only announced 10 of them so far, but there will be 20 so far. Let me tell you what games you're getting. For the NES, you'll be getting Super Mario Bros., Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong Jr., Ice Climber, and The Legend of Zelda. And for Game Boy Advance, you'll be getting Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3, WarioWare Incorporated Mega Micro Games, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and Metroid Fusion. There'll also be 10 more games. So this is going to ease the pain of the early adopter bullshit that you have to go through. So sorry to people who spent $250 on the 3DS, but log on to that eShop and you got some free games coming your way. So that's, The price drop is also happening in Japan, although it's a little different there. The 3DS is actually more expensive in Japan. It costs about $320, and it's going to go down to $190 there. So, that's what's going on. In Europe, they're also going to have a price cut. Not sure exactly how much, but they said it'll be by about a third. So, major things coming out of Nintendo. Personally, I think it has less to... I don't think it has anything to do with the sales. The sales have been okay. They haven't been amazing, but they've been okay. I think it has a lot to do with the PlayStation Vita's price point of $250. Nintendo has this thing where they always want to be the most affordable. So, that's what's going on there. Here's some news from Activision. They're doing something that's not evil for a change. So that's a big thing. They are, they're going to be doing something really wonderful. I'm really glad they're doing this. Basically what's happening is they're going to be giving money to independent game developers, not, kicking puppies or baking Smurfs and pies or anything. So that's what you would usually think from Activision, but they're going to be giving money to independent game developers, so that's a big thing. So basically they're going to have a contest. Indie developers will be submitting games that are either completed or in development or even still in the concept stage for consideration, and Activision will pick winners, or they have picked the first two winners already. First prize winner was Peter Angstad. He got $175,000 for his game Destroyed, and a developer called Engient claimed a $75,000 prize for their game, which is called Rigonauts Broadside. So there's going to be a second phase to the competition. They'll be giving away yet another $250,000 to indie developers. So, wow. So they're getting a little goodwill, It happens every once in a while. Let's see. Oh, I already talked about the Resident Evil remakes. Let's move on past that. Oh, I'm closing the wrong thing. Okay, so here's what's new to download for Nintendo's eShops and whatnot for this week. On the 3DS eShop, you can get Let's Golf 3D from Gameloft. This costs $7, a fun-filled golf experience for anyone. Discover Let's Golf 3D, one of the most fun and colorful golf games for the Nintendo 3DS system. Choose from 8 customizable characters with superpowers on 108 holes in 6 locations, including the Mayan jungle or Winter Wonderland. The 3D visuals will let you view let you view your ball's trajectory like never before. That sounds interesting. Brawl Brothers is coming to the Wii's Virtual Console. This is a Super NES game. It's going to be available for 800 points or $8. A classic two-player scrolling beat-em-up is back on the Virtual Console service. People are going missing in Bayside City, and the rumors say someone is conducting a shady human cloning experiment is responsible for Rick, a.k.a. Hack, and Doug, a.k.a. Slash. The situation has just become personal. So you go beat people up. On WiiWare, we have Burn the Rope from Big Blue Bubble. This is available for 1,000 Wii points, or $10. Burn your way through levels in this completely unique puzzler. Burn the Rope is a challenging game where you try to burn as much of the rope as you can in each level. The catch is that fire only burns upwards, leaving you to turn the level to keep your flames alive. As you progress through the levels, you'll encounter bugs crawling along the rope, which will have different reactions to the flame. On DSi, where we have My Australian Farm from Bit Media coming for 200 DSi points or $2. My Australian Farm is a breeding simulation game. At the beginning, all you own is an empty field, a little money, and a single emu. You need to feed the emu, take care of it, and improve its lifestyle. Well fed with seed, it will lay its eggs. Well, hold on. You can't just get an egg from one emu. You have to have another emu to fuck it. Alright, we're moving on. That's just too weird. If it's a breeding game, you can't just start with one animal. You got to start with two. Come on. I don't know. Maybe Maybe you go out and get like a stud emu. Who knows? All right. Also coming to DSiWare is Go Series Portable Shrine Wars from GameBridge. It's 200 points or $2. Go Series presents Portable Shrine Wars from Tom Create, makers of Defense Wars. Ever seen a summer festival in Japan? No. Okay. Moving on. I don't know what's going on. And finally, for DSiWare, we have Oscar's World Tour from Virtual Playground for 500 points or $5. Oscar is back. Who cares? With more great zany non-stop action in over 7 new exciting worlds: America, the oceans, Africa, the islands, Europe, Arctic and Antarctic, and the Far East. Your mission is to swim, fly, and run through these worlds, collecting baby Oscars that have become... Alright, so he's collecting his own babies? That's weird. Alright. Let's move on. I have official titles for the new Mario Kart and Super Mario games for 3DS, and boy are they stupid. The Mario game was originally just called Super Mario, if you remember, and then at E3 they were calling it Super Mario 3D. Well, the official title of it is Super Mario 3D Land. That's right, not Super Mario Land 3D, but Super Mario 3D Land. What the fuck, Nintendo? And the Mario Kart game, which they were just calling Mario Kart, and this is unbelievably dumb. I mean, I think the game looks great. I can't wait to play it, but what a fucking stupid name. They're calling it Mario Kart 7, which is strange because, I mean, yeah, it's the 7th game, but they haven't numbered any of them. You had Super Mario Kart, then you had Mario Kart 64, then you had Mario Kart Super Circuit. That would be number 3. Number 4 would be Mario Kart Double Dash. Number 5 would be Mario Kart DS, and number 6 would be Mario Kart Wii. Why can't you just call it Mario Kart 3D? I mean, whatever. I don't know. Mario Kart 7? That's like Windows 7. Although at least Mario Kart 7 is the 7th one. Windows 7 is not the 7th of anything. All right. Good news for Breath of Fire fans such as myself. Breath of Fire 4 will be coming to the PSN in August. So that's August 16th to be exact in the United States. You'll be able to download Breath of Fire for PSN, meaning you could play it on your PlayStation 3 or your PSP. So that's cool. That's cool, especially since now, I mean, I'll get it on my PSP, all 4 original Breath of Fire games. Obviously 5 was on PS2, but they'll be available on handheld consoles, because the first 2 were re-released for Game Boy Advance. The third one was re-released for the PSP. It didn't come out in America, but it did come out in Europe, and the PSP is region-free, so all you have to do is import a PAL disc. Unfortunately, the PS Vita will have region locks. I'm kind of torn up about that. I love region-free gaming. Anyway, let's move on. Now, if you remember, I did a story. I got really uptight about it. I got a little aggravated about Capcom and taking the ability to erase saves out of their game Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. Well, Namco Bandai has done a similar thing with their game Pac-Man and Galaga Dimensions. You are not able to take the high scores out, the save files. And basically, they're going through the same thing Capcom's going through. They said they're sorry, and they will never do it again. It was just supposed to be an arcade aesthetic thing, but, that's what's going on with that. Figured I'd mention it. Okay, now this is interesting. If you've been playing the Virtual Console eShop games on your 3DS, you might have noticed that there's no multiplayer. Well, 3DS NES games will include multiplayer with an update. There will be a 3DS Ambassador Program update on September 1st. It will seem bare bones, but a future update will bring some extras. Nintendo says, what did they say? Oh, okay. These upgrades will include additional features such as multiplayer simultaneous play. It's kind of a big thing, because even the Game Boy Virtual Console games sold now have multiplayer functionality, so that's pretty cool. That's a big deal. This includes Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong Jr., Balloon Fight, Ice Climber, and Legend of Zelda. I don't think Zelda has multiplayer, but there will be more games coming to the Ambassador programs. These are all the games that are coming to the free games that you'll get for being an early adopter, too. Here's good news for King of Fighters 13. It is coming to America. I just talked about this a few shows ago. Not only is it coming to America, but it's being published by Atlas. Now, this is a big deal because Atlas always treats their fans right, and they're majorly doing it this time. They're having a program called Atlas Spoils for King of Fighters 13. They've gone a little bit above and beyond. What they're doing is if you pre-order the game from participating retailers, which will include Amazon and GameStop, you will get a soundtrack. Now, this is a little cooler than it sounds. It's not just a soundtrack. It's a 4-disc soundtrack CD. So 4 CDs that will include a collection of music from throughout the whole King of Fighters series. Nobody knows what's on it, but we do know they treat us almost too well. It's coming for the holidays, 2011, King of Fighters. Actually, it's coming out in October. I just looked it up because I was interested to find out when it's coming out. I just looked it up right before doing the show. It's coming out in North America on October 25th for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So I'll definitely be picking up that. I was very disappointed with King of Fighters 12 because it didn't have a story mode. It didn't have endings. And there was no reason to play it. There was nothing to unlock. There was really no reason to play it unless you play online, which I don't. So I was disappointed. But this looks like they're going to be doing it properly. It has a story mode, so that's pretty cool. So finally, I'm going to end the news segment with the game releases for August. It's kind of a thin month, so this is what's coming out in August. August 2nd, we'll see the release of Limbo for Windows. If you remember, Limbo was a big hit on Xbox 360 and PlayStation Network. Or actually, it just came out for PlayStation Network not too long ago, but it was a big hit originally on Xbox 360. Now it's coming to Windows. That's kind of a big deal for fans of Limbo. On the 16th, we'll see the release of 3 games: Age of Empires Online for Windows, El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and No More Heroes, Heroes Paradise for PlayStation 3. I'll definitely going to be picking up El Shaddai. That game looks amazing. August 17th, we'll see the release of From Dust for Windows. August 23rd, we'll see the release of Deus Ex Human Revolution for Windows, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. August 26th, we'll see the release of Rugby World Cup 2011 for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. August 30th, we got 3 games coming out: Driver Renegade 3D for the 3DS, Madden NFL 12 for PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, Xbox 360, Wii, DS, and 3DS, and Red Orchestra 2 Heroes of Stalingrad for Windows. And finally, on August 31st, we'll see the release of Rock of Ages for Windows, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. So, before we end the show, because I am pretty much done here, it's another short show, which makes up for all the long shows that I've done, but I will be ending it with the charts. But before I do that, I'll play a little music, And here, this one goes out to that one guy who can't recognize any video game music, so I'm going to play something so insanely recognizable that if you don't know what this is, turn in your gamer card and your balls. Seriously, if you don't if you don't recognize the Zelda theme, then there's no hope for you. What can I say? There's nothing I can say to that, you know? Legend of Zelda theme, obviously, from the Sound and Drama CD that they released, you know? I don't know when they released it. They released it, though. Alright, so let's end the show, as I always do, with the charts. So let's see. So here we have the top 10 best-selling games in America for the week ending in July 23rd, 2011. Number one selling game was NCAA Football 12 for Xbox 360, which sold 117,651 copies. NCAA Football 12 for PlayStation 3 sold 87,477 copies. Just Dance 2 for the Wii sold 41,371 copies. Mario Kart Wii for, guess what, the Wii sold 34,795 copies. Zumba Fitness for the Wii sold 30,869 copies. Wii Sports Resort for the Wii sold 28,906 copies. Call of Juarez: The Cartel for Xbox 360 sold 27,282 copies. Kinect Adventures for the Xbox 360 sold 27,115 copies. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D for the 3DS sold 26,589 copies. And here's the return of an oldie, God of War 3 for PlayStation 3, which sold 26,559 copies. In Japan, the top-selling game was Mina no Rhythm Tengoku, which we know as Rhythm Heaven for the Wii, sold 121,043 copies. And number 2, Sengoku Basara Chronicle Heroes for the PlayStation Portable sold 79,966 copies. GQ Powerful Pro Yaku 2011 for PlayStation 3 sold 37,371 copies. Inazuma 11 Strikers for the Wii sold 36,157 copies. No More Heroes Red Zone for PlayStation 3 sold 33,260 copies. Taiko no Tatsujin Portable DX for the PlayStation Portable, it sold 31,086 copies. GQ Powerful Pro Yaku 2011 for PlayStation Portable sold 30,864 copies. Nora no Toku no Kubo Kiri no Mori no Meijo. What a name. That's on the DS. It sold 23,514 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 19,201 copies. And Alice Madness Returns for PlayStation 3 sold 19,003 copies. In Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, number one selling game was Zumba Fitness for the Wii. It sold 42,441 copies. Pokemon Black and White version for DS sold 35,225 copies. Wii Sports Resort for the Wii sold 30,871 copies. Mario Kart Wii for the Wii sold 29,859 copies. Wii Sports for the Wii sold 21,779 copies. Call of Duty Black Ops making a return for PlayStation 3. It sold 18,524 copies. Wii Fit Plus for the Wii sold 16,792 copies. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D for the 3DS sold 16,027 copies. Call of Juarez: The Cartel for Xbox 360 sold 15,138 copies, and Call of Juarez: The Cartel for PlayStation 3 sold 14,600 copies. As far as systems go, in America, the top-selling console was the Xbox 360, making a change there. They were number one with 73,419 units sold. The DS sold 60,711 units. The DS, that was the DS. I'm sorry. The PlayStation 3 also selling more than usual with 53,170 units. The Wii, 50,785 units. The 3DS, 23,754 units. And the PlayStation Portable, 22,704 units. In Japan, the top-selling console was the PSP with 26,268 units sold. The PlayStation 3 sold 23,252 units. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I completely fudged that up. The number one was the 3DS, 31,507. So 3DS, then PSP, then PS3. The Wii sold 17,108 units. The DS, 8,888 units. I'm not making that up. And the Xbox 360, 1,488 units. In Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia, the number one selling console was the PlayStation 3. Really strong this week. 61,167 of those sold. The DS, 50,559 units. The Wii, 48,628 units. The Xbox 360, 40,670 units, the PlayStation Portable 36,498 units, and the 3DS 16,055 units. So overall, worldwide, the top-selling games were Rhythm Heaven on the Wii, NCAA Football 12 for 360, and then the same game for PS3, Sengoku Basara for PlayStation Portable, Wii Sports Resort, Pokemon Black and White on the DS, Zumba Fitness on the Wii, Mario Kart Wii, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS, and Just Dance 2 on the Wii. And worldwide, the best-selling console was the PlayStation 3, making its top spot for the first time in a long time, followed by the DS, the Wii, the 360, the PlayStation Portable, and the 3DS. So that's what's going on there. So I hope you enjoyed the show. That's it for this week. See you next week. VMX out.